Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Silver Tears Tarot. We are here today to talk about something that came up in a previous reading and just trying to understand why it is that your person is having such a hard time with the level of attraction that comes from you. It seems like they have this incredible attraction toward you, but your attraction really causes them to feel like they need to run. So that's kind of what we're asking about today. It's a question that's come out like I said, it came out in a previous reading, but it's also one that you have posed to me. A lot of questions that have come through on email or via the notes, and so I'm working to answer those, and I just slide those answers in where it makes sense. And sometimes if the answers don't come out easily, I just go in and look for them. So for today, we are, like I said, going to talk about why this person is having such a hard time dealing with the attraction energy that comes from you. It's going to be a general reading as always, and so it won't resonate with everybody, and really it shouldn't. This is going to be something that it's for this collective. So if you find that you are a part of this collective, just know all of these videos are very much connected. The messages are very much connected. So you may want to subscribe. You may want to look at some of the other videos to get some additional messages. So we're going to go ahead and jump in, and we're going to look at that energetic backdrop. Kind of, we're asking what mood the energy is in today. Asking what mood the energy is in. That's kind of what it is, really. You know, I say that almost flippantly, but it's really kind of the question that we're asking, because it's that energetic backdrop that really can shift from day to day, and doesn't usually shift a ton within a single day. So if I do a bunch of readings in a single day, I'll get a similar energetic backdrop. But from day to day, you might see some pretty different changes. A lot of times I can tell things are going to be interesting when people write in and tell me, okay, I had wild and crazy dreams last night. Sometimes that's the impetus for that day's reading. So energetic backdrop, the energy, the mood that it's in, kind of like the weather, the energetic weather. Okay, so union. We have the union card that has popped out for today's energetic backdrop. And so the union card is exactly what it sounds like, but it's a union in many ways. So it's kind of an energy of things coming together within you. That's reconciliation within the self. It's union between you and potentially your person. Here's the thing. You're already in union with this person in a spiritual sense, which some of you are able to identify that even when, just when you close your eyes. So I had a question from somebody a few days ago, and they asked, well, how do I know if my person's energy is close to me? And that is one of the ways that you might know. Just when you sit down to meditate, do you notice all of a sudden that they don't, like, they're just there? They all of a sudden are there. Whoa. So we have the Two of Chalices, which when we're talking about union, this is a strong card of union. This is like, this is water energy. So it's like the Two of Cups, Two of Chalices. It is a card of coming into union, of being in union. It's really about the energy flowing back and forth between the two of you. And so we know there's been a lot of it lately, but it seems like there's a new level of it. And with it being in the energetic backdrop and these being the first two cards that have come out, this is really kind of significant because it's got, I'll tell you what it feels like to me. It feels like that first leap into the deep end when you first get into a pool. For a person who can swim, it's not terrifying. It's just, it's a lot of freedom, but it's also a lot of potential, things that could go either way. It's a very different sort of feeling, so it's almost got that same sense of splashing into something new. We've got the Four of Pentacles and the Five of Pentacles both coming out in the reverse, though. This is interesting. So these are both have very, what I would call, positive connotations. So I would also call out that anything that happens is really inherently neutral, and that positive and negative are things that we assign to them, but I still would assign these as being fairly positive. And so what I mean is the Four of Pentacles talks about letting go of something that really, really you should be letting go of. Ideally, in order to move forward, you have to let go of the side of the pool in order to kind of kick out into the middle. It's that kind of thing, but this is much more conceptual. You've let go of something, and I don't know that your person ever really had an issue with this particular thing they were letting go with. However, Five of Pentacles is a place that the two of you were absolutely both working on some of the same issues. So the Five of Pentacles is it's about those big three issues that we've been watching both of you fighting. So fear of abandonment, betrayal, rejection. This is about making some headway in that area. It feels like turning a corner in the area of like vulnerability for your person. Feels like vulnerability. Something has ended, something has changed, but there is still some consternation about this. So whereas this is incredibly freeing energy, there's still an element of this that isn't terribly freeing. They just can't seem to get past the existential dread part. But over here, we've got something that's definitely coming to an end that feels like, again, feels like it should be. And here we have the World, end of a cycle. There is something significant happening in the energy today around an ending, around moving to the next step, around coming into union and abandoning some shell that they were wearing before. It really kind of has that feeling of it, like leaving, coming out of that shell to go do something different. The Ace of Chalices, the Page of Wands. These are incredible. The Page of Wands is a curious page. A lot of curiosity and even a little bit of originality. I want to say like originality and creativity in with this Page of Wands. This Ace of Chalices is a cup of love. It is what we think of when we think of the Ace of Cups. So this is a really loving energy, but it's an energy of being in union, of being comfortable in each other's space. So this is a day where if you sit down to meditate and you feel their energy there, it might just be very comforting for both of you, even though you may not be having that experience in the physical, in the 3D. So that's maybe the strongest that sort of experience has ever come out. I would highly recommend sitting down and trying the meditation to see what comes of it. I know I'm going to give it a shot just to see what happens there. I always do, but I think that this is an interesting energy to explore and to just kind of kick around in. Still feels like a swimming pool to me. Let's move on to our question of the day, which is really, what is it that causes them to have such a hard time dealing with the attraction energy coming from you? And maybe with this, we start to see a little bit of the erosion of that issue that they have. Okay, so Thought in the reverse. We've got the Thought card in the reverse, and this is an interesting deck. So this deck does have a lot of the same elements of the standard tarot, the traditional tarot, but it's got some other concepts and archetypes in there. With this one, so the Union card really does feel like a combination between the Lovers card and the Two of Cups to me whenever it comes out. The Thought card here feels like Swords, but it feels very specifically like digging deeply into Swords and having a little bit more of an integration of it really is kind of the integration between the spiritual and the physical. And so we even kind of see it in the card a little bit with the Pentacle representing the physical, and we've got the spiritual represented in the rest of the elements that we see in the back. And there are concepts around personality, concepts that come out for me from this card around ego and how you want to be presented or how they want to be presented. And it's really how they want to be presented in this context, because we're asking what it is that concerns them so much. And what it really comes down to is there's a lack of reconciliation between that spiritual and the physical. They really are concerned about appearances. That's the piece that comes out from the egoistic standpoint. So with the Thought card in the reverse, that's what we see right off the bat. Something about it something about the relationship makes them uncomfortable from the standpoint of how it looks, and it might be how it looks socially or to their family, but it might also be how it looks for them to be that smitten, or how it looks for them to lose control emotionally that way. So we've got the Wheel of Fortune, and the Eight of Chalices in reverse, as well as the Nine of Chalices in reverse. And here, the High Priestess. We want all of these. We'll just talk about all of these. So with the Wheel of Fortune in reverse, this is, they are feeling the one of the reasons that they are, I don't want to say turned off, but turned away almost by the level of your attraction, is that they feel powerless in this. We already saw that they wanted to be able to kind of control the narrative. We've been hearing that lately. It's been this desire to more or less be able to look a certain way that they want to look, whether it's in society or just in general, don't want to look like they've lost emotional control. We see that come out a lot, but they feel like they're kind of stuck in it with this Wheel of Fortune. They feel like, okay, I made the decision to back away from this, to run away from this, to hide, to break off significant, meaningful communication. And in some cases, break off communication entirely, but it won't go away. And the fact that it won't go away really is concerning to them and disturbing to them, and threatening to them, which is part of the reason that they continue to want to run harder, run away farther. It is causing them to recognize the fact that they lack that awareness of what it is that truly constitutes their wish fulfillment. Okay, so we have the Nine of Chalices, we have the Eight of Chalices, and that's basically saying they don't know exactly what it is that they want. They've become very aware of this, but they're not even on the hunt for it. They're not even searching. There's a quest that has to take place here with this Eight of Chalices, and the way that this comes out and the way it feels. They are at best just sort of, mumbling around and not really looking for the real deal. Excuse me. The High Priestess, the High Priestess is showing us. It's like I'm having trouble with my throat chakra as I'm saying this, because it's like the message has to come out, but it doesn't want to come out. So I apologize. I don't want to cough in your ear. But we have this High Priestess, and this is talking about the connection between them and their higher self, the connection between them and their intuition. They are having a hard time with. So, you know how some of you, when you sit down, you're able to meditate and then kind of see your person's energy flow in, or be sitting off to the side there. You're very aware. You're able to quiet your mind. This is the feeling of a person who's unable to do that, who's actually resistant to that. Excuse me. So there's a lot of kind of self-fulfilling prophecy that comes out, but also they're almost refusing to allow themselves to have access to your energy because of the fear that's associated with losing control, or looking like they're losing control. And the fact that they're not feeling like they can get away from this, in some ways it feels like they already have lost control. And so this connection requires a lot of trust, and they're having a hard time in, putting in that trust. So let's see what else. Okay, we've got the Five of Swords in the reverse, and it's interesting because it came out and I'm looking at it. I can see that it says 5, but it feels like 4. I can see that there are 5 swords here, so I know that it is a 5 of Swords, but I'm going to also tell you it has a heavy 4 of Swords feel to it as well. So the 5 of Swords in this context is about really, it's fighting the right battles, or not fighting the wrong battles, but them failing to do so. They have a very at any cost sort of feeling about them here. So they are willing to do what they have to do to get free of what is causing them to feel the fear. We have an Ace of Pentacles here in the reverse. This is a closed door. They are closing this door, but it's a hasty running away sort of. I heard something scary, ran up the basement steps, and it was the water heater, or it was the air handler turning on or something. It wasn't an unusual sound. But they freaked out and ran up the stairs, and it was dark. And, there's that feeling of absolute panic and keeping a door closed, stacking the furniture against it. And we've seen this come up before where there's supposed to be a door that opens relatively freely between the two of you because of the nature of the bond and the union that you have. But they have a tendency to stack up a bunch of furniture on their side or pile things up and make it impossible to open the door. There are also some things on your side that create issues, but it's typically not you piling a bunch of stuff up and making it impossible to access. So we do see though that they're kind of winning at any cost, or what they consider to be winning at any cost. They're wanting to hit their goal at any cost, and their goal is all about not having to appear a certain way, not having to appear weak. And it's an interesting energy. It's a very cover yourself sort of energy, but not necessarily covering themselves from something that they even think is out to get them. So they've got the Tower card here. This is a change that they're afraid of. So they're concerned because nothing is changing and they can't get away from it. They can't make it change. But by the same token, there is a change here inherent in the situation, and they have really not warmed up to this change. So it has to do with being able to see what's possible in the situation. Right now, though, and I see this with the Five of Chalices, their focus is more on what hasn't happened or what has gone wrong. And that's another reason why when you show any of your interest, it sort of resets the clock. It causes them to want to run away and hide. It sounds like a double standard, and it is. It isn't necessarily a double standard because they don't feel like you deserve to have the same standard as them. It's really more coming from the exact opposite, if I'm honest. It's more their lack of confidence that is causing them to feel like they got to run up the basement stairs in the dark in a panic. It's them not knowing what they want and not being able to do much to go after it. And admittedly, some of them are in family situations where it would be difficult for them, and it would take an enormous leap of faith for them to run off and start to truly investigate what it is that they want. But that leads you toward that midlife crisis sort of phenomenon where the issue is a lot more around things that make you happy will have adjusted and changed, but maybe your life didn't adjust and change with it. So you end up in this situation where suddenly you have to make a broad or a significant adjustment to get to it. And that's really where your person is finding themselves. You are a reminder of this. And so that creates more of that threat. And the very fact that you won't, the thoughts about you won't go away is more threat to them. There is a balance here that they have not been able to strike since before you came into the picture. And man, we got kind of a double dose of it. This is the big picture temperance balance. This is Two of Pentacles. This is that day-to-day kind of balance. Either way, they are feeling like they don't really have it since you came into the picture, which is why they just keep resisting with everything they've got to try and get to a place that feels more stable to them. So they want to deny their attraction in some cases. They want to, and they're denying it to themselves even, but it's not going away. It's not going away. And that is one of the biggest issues. Like I said, they haven't reconciled that earthly experience with the spiritual one, and they haven't done so to figure out what it is that they want. The longer time goes on, the more frustrated they become and the less connected they are, because they're almost threatened by that connection, because it takes a lot of trust. But we see here with the Tower, we've got more change coming. They've had a Tower here recently around trying to decide if and how they were going to communicate. Some of them got as far as communicating. I did get a rash of notes, and they've slowed down now, but I got a rash of notes of people saying, oh my goodness, they finally reached out. They finally reached out. And unfortunately, it's going kind of slowly, or then they reblocked me. I had another one got reblocked. A lot of things that are kind of, the patterns are coming out. So your person had to deal with a Tower around communication, and some of them actually reached out and communicated But they've got another one coming, it looks like here, and it looks like they're powerless to do anything about this. It's like wind blowing in a direction that, the trees grow in such a way that makes them, the root structure and the overall structure is more resistant to the wind. If the wind comes in a different direction, the tree has very little resistance to it. That's what this tower feels like to me that's coming to them. So maybe we keep an eye on that. But first, let's take a look, because I think maybe we take a look at what that tower is in the extended. Because if they've got a change coming, maybe that's going to help to jog their understanding of what it is that truly makes them happy. We can check on that, because I think there's more to dig into here around the issues they have with their attraction energy that's coming from you. But this tower is probably what sticks out to me the most, and not just because it's change, but because we also know that with this death card, we've got something coming to an end in today's energy. So when we get into the extended, we'll take a little bit closer of a look at that. And the extendeds are always interesting because it's fewer people that click on the extendeds as that are on the main videos, so the energy gets a little bit more targeted and specific. So it'll be interesting to see what comes out, especially with the death and the tower cards on the table. We know there's change. Let's look into what that change is and kind of how it's going to affect them. But first, let's look at you. Let's look at what you need to be focused on given what else we see here on the table. We try to look at this sort of thing in every reading because this collective is very much invested in your own healing. So we've got the scribe card. Okay, the scribe card is about beware of what you are essentially not taking to heart, not keeping in mind, not writing down. The scribe literally writes things down. So it's going to be, if you have, dropped a card. If you have a journal, maybe make sure that you're keeping up with it, because you've got some things that you might be forgetting about that are pretty significant. Now, I guess that Four of Swords that came out with this Five of Swords, that feeling, is mirrored in you. So we've got the Four of Swords in reverse here, and this is really about not having all your healing done, but the key is going to be in expressing some of this in written form or getting some of this out there. It might be, could even be talking to someone. You could have a therapist that you talk to or somebody that you talk to. Some of you write me notes, and that's where you're getting it out to somebody that is reading it and that isn't going to judge you, right? And so that's kind of what you have to do. But your journal is also the ultimate in not being judged, right? And so this, though, the Four of Swords talks about the healing that still needs to happen. The Magician is what concerns me in this, because the focus here is realizing that you don't have everything in line yet that you need to move forward. There's still some healing for you, and you've been doing so much of it, but it's getting in the way of the flow of emotion on your side. So not necessarily with your person. Look for this to take shape with somebody else, but look for flow of energy on your side to be a little bit muted, maybe feel a little bit less vulnerable than you usually want to, a little bit less of that feeling of self-worth and confidence in there that comes from not having that healing done, not having everything all pulled together. But boy, is there hope. There is something that you are maybe wanting to say to somebody that could be incredibly helpful in kind of clearing the path for you. There's a conversation that you have with somebody, or maybe even something you could do. So this is a Knight of Chalices. This is a Page of Chalices. This is something that you would initiate, you would do. I don't think it's with your person, though. I think it feels like it might even be with a child or someone like younger than you. So if you're in your 50s and you've got a younger brother or sister that's also in their 50s or in their 40s, that could be the child. I mean, it could be your own inner child. This is very, it feels like it's a relatively broad sense, but it feels like there's somebody that somewhere in there, something happened that needs to be addressed, and it would be addressed by you, and it would open things up. It's action that, if taken by you, could open things up for you from a healing perspective as well. You have this ability to move yourself forward. It is based in some sort of communication. This is not necessarily the same communication as the Page of Chalices communication. That's a little bit more personal. This Eight of Wands energy is a little bit more outgoing in general. What was that? I mean, it's something that, yeah, we have the Six of Wands. Well, this is fantastic because this is the energy that you want to lift up in yourself. And the Eight of Wands, there's some conversation that you have. So it's communication. There's some kind of conversation that you have that really lifts you up. And then this Six of Wands, it's like it lifts you up and you catch air and just keep on kind of going. You've got a Ten of Chalices. Okay, something is coming to you. And we've seen this in the form of a person coming. We've also seen circumstances, opportunities. Something is coming to you that seems like it's too good to be true. Evaluate it carefully. There's a very good chance that it may be too good to be true, but it might still just be for you. So let's see. We don't want this one. We want this one. All right. So that was interesting. And we only want this one. So we've got the Six of Swords. The Six of Swords is saying that there is an opportunity. It's an invitation to meditate. You keep getting these messages to meditate and to pray. There's an invitation to get into it here, not just because you're going to get a better sense of this energy over here of the day, but also because it's going to give you an opportunity to kind of let things kind of slide into place. May, even if it's your own inner child, give you an opportunity to have that conversation, because it may be meditation where you access that inner child. We're going to look a little bit more deeply into you as well in this extended, but I think when we get into this extended, we're going to look at what this changes that's coming for your person and maybe understand a little bit more around I get why they're having such a hard time dealing with the attraction energy coming from you. But in this context of this energy that is shifting and kind of all this change that's happening, let's see what that means. So hopefully I'll see you over in the extended. The link is down below. Otherwise, I hope to see you again tomorrow.